I am so excited to talk to you today about the 3 core elements to consider if you are trying to build out your dream linen or plant-based wardrobe. We're going to take ourselves from creating one-off garments that interest us here and there to working on building over time a really cohesive wardrobe. On an everyday basis, on special occasions, I want you to be able to reach in your closet and find something you really like to wear that's made of natural fibers and makes you feel good. Maybe you're someone who, when you open up your closet, most of it is made of polyester or nylon, some sort of synthetic fiber. And the issues you're facing when you reach in is that it doesn't quite feel like you and reflective of your values, your aesthetics, and how you want to feel in your clothes. A lot of those clothes look worn out really quick and they stink really fast. These are all traits of a fast fashion polyester wardrobe, and they don't make you necessarily feel special about what you're wearing on a day-to-day basis when you go to put it on in the morning. Now, maybe you have actually gotten brave enough to start dabbling in making your own clothes because you want them to fit better. You want to use the fabrics that you want to use, which is awesome that you're getting your feet wet and sewing your own clothes. But sometimes we fall into this trap of doing random projects that don't necessarily match each other or anything else in our closet. It feels scrambled. You made a shirt, but you don't necessarily even have pants to wear with it. If this sounds something like your situation, then I'm so excited to sit down with you today and help you really solve this issue by building a more intentional wardrobe using natural fibers. And what exactly are natural fibers? These are your linen, cotton, hemp, bamboo, wool, silk. It includes fibers that are made either from plants or from animal byproducts. Something all of these have in common is that they biodegrade way easier than chemical petroleum-based fabrics like polyester, nylon, acrylics, which take thousands of years to biodegrade, like turn back into dirt. All of the natural fibers I mentioned turn back into dirt as soon as 2 weeks in the case for linen. And I'm a huge linen head. I'm obsessed with linen fabric, so you'll notice I'll lean quite a bit into linen, but we'll talk a little bit about mixing in other fabrics along the way too. All right, so the number one core element that I want us to consider is lifestyle. Think about what work do you do, what hobbies, what outdoor activities. Are you going hiking, to weddings or formal events? Do you meet up with friends or family and just need something cute and casual? Or maybe there's a certain type of dress code for your work. When you think about your year ahead and what sort of lifestyle area you want to prioritize first, we can start there and build a very functional capsule wardrobe around it. We're going to approach this a little bit the way that a musician approaches their body of work. Every musician basically has a discography, right? That's the collection of all of their albums they've ever made. And their discography started with just one album. And each album started with just one song. A wardrobe can be built a lot in the same way. And along the way, we'll try and keep all of our designs within a certain vibe so that they mix and match really easily, much like the songs in an album do. The popular word for this is a capsule wardrobe, which is just a curated collection of really versatile, high quality, and timeless clothing staples that are designed intentionally to be mixed and matched to create numerous outfits. So you don't need tons of garments, you just need a handful that you can mix and match to create different combinations. People often find a lot of value in starting out with a combination like 2 tops, 2 bottoms, and a layering piece like a jacket or a scarf. But you could also throw in some sort of one piece like a dress or a jumpsuit if that's your vibe as well. So over the past few years, I have been really building up this catalog of sewing patterns optimized for linen fabric or plant-based fabrics in general. And I've just put up a little quiz on my site where you can tell me about what your first capsule priorities and mission is, and I'll recommend the exact set of patterns that will be perfect for you to use for your first capsule wardrobe based on the exact lifestyle elements that you're needing. You can head over to that quiz down at the link in the description below. So it sounds really simple, but it's something to take note of so we can start off strong, thinking about what kind of garments we should start with and prioritize, and which ones they look fun, but we might not actually have a use case to wear them. The second core element I want us to consider is fit and feel. And when I talk about feel, it's not just how it feels up against your skin. That's important. But it also is like, where is it putting pressure on your body? Is it expansive or constricting? How does it feel to wear it? Does it make you feel secure? Does it make you feel free-flowing? I want you to think about the clothing that you currently reach for in your closet on a day-to-day basis, or for special events or for hikes. Go through all of your use cases of when you wear clothing and think about what in your closet that you actually do love to reach for. Hopefully you have at least something in there that you reach for more often. What is it about that garment that you really love? About how it feels, makes you feel. Think about the actual elements that it contains. Does it have an elastic waist or a zippered waist? Does it have something that expands throughout the day with you, or does it have something that's more rigid and keeps itself in place? Is it more flowy or skin tight? A more hard texture, or is it a softer texture? Do you like the feeling of a more slippery or thin fabric versus something more thick, or even something that's more rough? If you were raised culturally as a woman, then you've likely heard the phrase, beauty is pain. And I don't live by that rule anymore, and I'm definitely not going to encourage you to do so either. I want you to feel secure and temperature regulated by wearing clothing, but I otherwise want you to completely forget you're wearing clothing. If it's not comfortable, I won't reach for it. We don't want our clothing to be another drop of stress in our stress bucket that's filling up every day. Every time that seam annoys you, it's another drop in your stress bucket that's just activating your nervous system, causing overall pain, inflammation, frustration, headaches. The higher that stress bucket gets filled up, it's basically taking energy away from you in ways that you could be applying to meaningful things in your life. Hopefully I've convinced you that beauty does not have to equal pain, and I want you to come up with all the elements in clothing that make you feel super comfortable in your body throughout the day. In the same vein, I want to talk about fit of clothes. I explain this a little bit more in a module of my Build Your Dream Linen Wardrobe System. We'll go way more in depth into fit, but basically, quick overview. We all know about sizes, right? All clothing and sewing patterns come in different sizes, but what we're not often taught to think about is our height and the effect of height on how clothing fits. When a company or a sewing pattern brand makes clothing, they make it for one standard height. All the sizes are made for one height of person. A size large is not for a taller person than a size small. It's just your body kind of three-dimensional shape outward. And so this means that if you aren't the exact height that clothing was modeled for, then your clothing isn't optimized for you proportionally. This is why it's so valuable to either sew your own clothes and know how to make height adjustments, which is super easy, and I show you how in my height adjustment calculator. It's over on my Build Your Dream Linen Wardrobe program that you can get completely free at charliedarwintextiles.com. I think the most fun core element to consider when building your dream plant-based wardrobe is the mix and match ability of your fabrics and the colors that you choose. As I discussed earlier, we have our plant-based fabrics and we have our animal-based fabrics. Our plant-based are like linen, cotton, bamboo, hemp. Then we have our animal-based, which are like our wool and our silk. What I want to emphasize the most here is that all of these natural fibers are really good at intermixing. They look good together. Linen pants look good with a wool jacket. A silk shirt looks good with linen pants. Given that you're working within the right color family, they all texturally work really, really well together. What I don't think works well is natural fibers and petroleum-based fibers like polyester. The polyester type fabrics are more like silky and literally plasticky. And the way that they take dyes and everything, it just doesn't mesh very well when you try and cross over. So you might have noticed that if you own like one pair of linen pants, but everything else in your wardrobe is polyester, it is kind of a little difficult to integrate them into a polyester wardrobe. So that's why we're going from the holistic wardrobe approach, so we can have several tops, bottoms, dresses, jackets that are really intermixable. A key element to focus on is that we are building up all of our garments, as many as we can, to be natural fiber, and that will make the biggest difference in how well we can mix and match them. I listed off a lot of different types of natural fibers, and I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer of what's actually feasible and realistic for you to build out, because I think if you're shopping for these clothes already made, then it's a little bit simpler because you don't have to learn new skill sets for each different fabric type. But if you're making your own wardrobe, I would recommend that you really focus in on one type of natural fiber, just because they all do behave a little bit differently on your sewing machine. When heat is applied, silk is really slippery and pretty expensive. Wool can also be rather expensive, but a little bit thicker, and it's hard to buy online, all these things. So when I wanted to start building my natural fiber wardrobe, I really leaned into linen. I saw and still do see it as the best one to really use as my core base to a natural fiber wardrobe. You can wear it in all seasons because it's great at temperature regulation. It doesn't make you too hot. It's very breathable in the summer, but it also does protect some warmth when you wear it in layers in the winter. It's soft. It's not quite as expensive often as like silk and wool. It's a little more expensive than cotton, but I think it's got way more richness and drape than cotton. It takes on natural dyes. It's antimicrobial. I absolutely just love the way it looks and feels and wrinkles and kind of forms to the body. And I also love that linen is really easy to sew with. I think cotton and linen are both pretty easy to sew with, but linen just gets really crisp and flat when you iron it. You can get really good crisp seams. But whichever fabric you choose to sew with, I recommend that you choose one to master first to get good at it. Then thrift or shop the other ones to mix in. So you could always build the core of your wardrobe with linen and then thrift or shop your silk or your wool to kind of layer within and around it. That would probably be my top recommendation for you. Lastly, the really, really fun part that's also really important is thinking about color and prints. Our main goal is mix and match ability. We want top A to match pants A, B, C, and D. And we want it also to match the jacket that we can wear over it. This is gonna help us make a ton of different outfit combos using fewer garments. When we're thinking about mix and matchability, we can think in color palettes of colors that work well together. You could have a completely monochrome wardrobe. That would honestly be kind of fun and weird in a good way. You could go undyed if you're not into using any color at all, or you could do all black. You could do bichromatic, a white and a black, or indigo and yellow. You could expand all the way up to, let's say, 10 colors. We also want those colors to work well with, let's say, our kind of physical body of our skin tone, hair, contrast level. And I don't want to get too in the weeds on it, but you can technically pay money and get like your color seasonality figured out about what colors and color palettes look the best with your skin tone, your hair, the level of contrast between the two. I've heard from someone that you can also give ChatGPT photos of yourself and it for free can give you some information. But for some people, it helps to feel more confident when someone is kind of making that decision for you. And I totally understand that. My approach to it has been way more just like whimsical, which is I think about what colors look pleasing to my eyes when I look in the mirror. What colors do I often get compliments on? When I see a photo of me and I think I look really bad in it, what colors was I wearing? So just kind of like real-time feedback from the world is enough confidence level. It works for me. I usually hold up light pinks or corals and I think, meh, not so much for me and my exact skin tone and hair color. But when I hold up like an indigo blue or a dark charcoal gray or black or off-white, these are all colors that for me, my eye color, my hair and my skin make me feel like something pops, and I really like that. So all this to say, I want to give you confidence to go in either direction, but you can think about color in terms of your physical body, and then also we want to build out what kind of color palettes work together. A great place to explore color palettes is on Pinterest. I've started a board and I might make it public, at least to start, so everyone can add in different color palette inspiration photos they find on Pinterest. You can compile them in one place. This can help everyone sort of look at different colors that seem pleasing to them. If you're starting from scratch and you want to just start picking out fabrics in a certain color scheme, you can plan ahead what looks good with each other. You can find this Pinterest board completely for free over in my Build Your Dream Linen Wardrobe program on my website. And along with color comes prints and weaves of the fabric. So maybe one fabric has multiple colors and design elements on it. These are your stripes, plaid, polka dot, floral, batik, or going completely solid, or a mix of all different things. In that Pinterest board I talked about, I'm also going to add different combinations of print combos. And I do think there's certain prints that don't mesh as well with other prints, like a really romantic floral that looks very like wedding-esque is probably not going to mesh very well with like really harsh stripes. We want to think about these things on each garment of how they fit into the broader landscape of the wardrobe. Will it match the other stuff I've got going on? For me, for example, my own wardrobe and my Charlie Darwin garments, I tend to go with solid colors, all very earth tones. They're all dyed with pigments from plants, and so they all have this very earthy color tone to them. And I know this might sound daunting or boring to minimize yourself into this box of solids, polka dots, stripes, florals, or I only do earth tones, or I only do linen. Narrowing yourself into something that sounds boring in a way, but I have always felt that true creativity comes from constraints. Your best, most creative work happens when you have a container that you have to sort of fit it into. Like me choosing to only go with plant dyes, only linen, only solids. That helps me get more creative with the designs, the embellishments that I add, the ways that I pattern hack stuff. That's where I can get really creative by actually narrowing down my options on the other aspects of what's going to keep my wardrobe cohesive. And if you want a really fun, cool new way to play around with color and fabric and patterns and prints, and you want to mix and match them on Charlie Darwin garments and see how they look with your hair and skin tone, I have built this really fun new tool. It is like a web app where you can do all of that. So you'll start here and you need to get some clothes on your person. So we can start with shirts. You can choose which pattern you want to work with. Let's say we're working with the Finch shirt. We can see what different collar types are available on this pattern, change the sleeves, and then we can even change the fabric color. I've got some preset ones here that are the fabrics I offer on my website, but you could also upload your own fabric swatches, which is super fun, of fabrics that you found online and you want to test out how they look first. Then we can head over to our pants. Let's say I'm going to do the Olean pants and I'm going to do straight leg with knee patches, and I'm going to do the sage color. We can head back over to our full outfit and see what the two look like together. And we can even change our skin tone. We can change the undertone. So if you have more olive or blush undertones, then we can come over here, change our hair style and our hair color. And if you want to get really fun with it, you can drop yourself into different scenes with the various backdrops that I have loaded onto here. So have fun with this. I think you're going to find a lot of use out of it. I know it's not the same as actually having the fabric or the garment made up in real life, but I would say it's a pretty darn good start just to start playing around and seeing what looks good. So hopefully this all makes sense and sets a good foundation for you moving forward of what we're going to be looking at as we build our dream wardrobe together. We've gone through so much today, and I think this is going to really pay off for you for years, if not decades to come. So thank you so much for sticking through with me. We have talked about your lifestyle and how that's going to impact the designs that you choose. And we've talked about the fit and feel of clothes that's going to impact how your body experiences your clothing sensorially, keeps you as low stress as possible on a day-to-day basis. And then we talked about mix and matchability of your fabrics and your color choices. And maybe I've even convinced you that linen is the best fabric to build your first 6 garments with. I would love to take you on that journey. That's my specialty. That is my expertise and what I'm so excited to talk all the time about. So if you want to do this, I want to make it as easy as humanly possible for you to get started and stick with it. And that's where my new completely free resource library comes in. It's called So Your Dream Linen Wardrobe, and it's where we're going to hone and guide your style one step at a time. I break it down into super simple and digestible steps so that you can build out your first 6 linen garments that are all going to mix and match so well. I'm so excited for you. And in the background, it's going to help you build a more consistent weekly sewing routine and more efficient sewing habits, ultimately creating a wardrobe that matches your personal values, your sensory needs, and your lifestyle. Each pattern that we work with will have dozens and dozens of variations that you can choose from, riff off of, make completely different looks using the same pattern. I'm going to show you how to do that, and I make it super simple for you to customize by size and height. I know it sounds crazy. Building your whole wardrobe from scratch sounds super overwhelming. Way easier said than done. I know, I have a full linen wardrobe I created by hand. I started with just one garment, and every garment I made from there started to build a more cohesive, mix and matchable wardrobe that I could draw from. I'm now 5 years into this journey, so I have more linen garments than I honestly need, but I really believe that you could build your dream linen wardrobe within 6 months, or you could stretch it out to 5 years. We'll work at the pace that you want to go at. I'm really just here to offer you a clear path so that you can start the process and actually follow through on each garment one at a time as you build this wardrobe up. I'm going to help you improve your sewing skills and get way more familiar with how to professionally sew with linen fabric, where to source it, what tools to use, how to prepare it, all of the fun stuff, so that you can make garments that really fit and feel the way you like. If you want to build your dream wardrobe using linen, I'll walk you through exactly how to build it with high confidence and low overwhelm. I can't wait to see you over there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!